Hey y'all, Stephanie here with Minimalist Mom Life. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a video that I am so excited to do. It's something that I have thought about and I've shared kind of a little bit of my heart about it on Instagram here and there, but I thought it's a much more lengthy discussion. Definitely wanted to make a video on it. Just needed the right time to where I could focus for a second and get my mind together to hopefully talk about this in a way that makes sense. But I want to talk about, and I'm not sure what I'm going to title this yet, but hopefully if you clicked on it, this will go with whatever I decided to title it. I wanted to talk about minimalism and influencers on social media and knowing who you are and buying and keeping things that really reflect who you are and not maybe the top social media people that you watch. So this all started, my decision to really want to discuss this more in depth, that I shared over on Instagram about getting rid of, I think it was like either makeup or maybe dangly earrings or something that just weren't really me, and how I had maybe purchased those things because I saw them, they were cute on somebody else, and I kept them thinking eventually I would want to wear them, or they were cute so I should wear them because someone else wears them, but really they weren't a reflection of me at all, right? And so I felt kind of guilty that they were there and I wasn't using them and that I'd spent money on them, but they just weren't me, so I wasn't ever going to reach for that first because that really wasn't a reflection of who I am. And somebody shared, her name is Alex, and I think she just changed her Instagram handle, otherwise I would tag her, but Alex, you know who you are. She shared on there about, she responded to that Instagram post about how we sometimes have kind of a fantasy self that we keep things for. So stuff that maybe really isn't a part of who we are, but maybe we want to be that person because we've seen somebody else have it, or we think we should be that person, so we keep those things, but it's not really a reflection of who we are. And I thought that is such an interesting way to put it, because dangly earrings, I don't feel like are a fantasy of, you know, some super stylish Stephanie wears dangly earrings. I don't really think that in my head, I don't think, you know, in my conscious thinking. But I do think there is, but maybe for some people that is true. I do think there's definitely some truth to, we sometimes buy things that have really nothing to do with who we are, but it's because we're influenced by other people and we want to be something, or we want to be like them, or we want to be their friends, so we want to be similar to them, so we buy these things. And then we end up keeping these things, and we may not use them and we may not love them, but maybe we feel a tie to that person because we have those things. All of that to bring me back to, and I do have some notes, so hopefully this is going to get a little bit more like it makes sense if it doesn't yet. Stick with me. We buy things that we don't necessarily want or need, and we keep things that we don't necessarily want or need because of this influence. And I want to say first that I am not knocking the fact that people make an income off of being a social media influencer, right? Like, that is part of 2018. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I make money on YouTube, although I'm not selling you products. It's okay that people do this, but I want you, the consumer, to be really careful and really choosy with what you allow to be your influence, which is kind of the point of this whole video, right? So my first point in thinking about social media influencers is this, and when you're deciding what videos to watch and who you're going to follow on Instagram, you don't go to a car dealership unless you're wanting to buy a car. So unless you are looking to buy new makeup and you're thinking, hey, you know what, I'm really tired of the way I wear makeup, I want to learn to contour, or I want to, you know, buy a new mascara, maybe I'll watch some reviews on mascara. Unless you're wanting that, consuming all of these beauty hauls and all these makeup gurus doesn't really make sense. Personally, I'm gonna use a lot of my own personal examples, and you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, Stephanie, you're a mess. But in real life, I am. So I wasn't really ever into the big beauty thing, but I did watch a few beauty videos, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do my eyebrows. So apparently the whole world is doing their eyebrows now. But I have never had big eyebrows, y'all. My husband fell in love with me and thought I was pretty stinking hot when I didn't do anything to my eyebrows. But then I watched all these social media people, and they spent all this time, and I thought, I've got to figure out how to do that. And suddenly I felt this pressure that I needed to buy more products, and then I needed to figure out this skill because it was so important to be pretty. Meanwhile, my husband is like, you've always, you know, been hot to me and you've never done that. Like, why all this sudden adding on to your plate, and this thing that we now need to buy, and this time that we now need to consume? Now, was there any problem with those women making those videos and showing off those products? No, that's a problem with Stephanie, that in consuming that, I instantly was movable enough about myself and not secure enough about myself to now feel like I had to do that, right? That was a problem with me, not with them. But that's a common problem with women. That's why this influencer thing, and even men, works so well, because we watch it and it's so easy for us to all of a sudden, well, gosh, we gotta buy it. Like, maybe there aren't as many as seen on TV ads anymore. Maybe QVC isn't so popular anymore with our generation, but it's because we're watching YouTube videos and YouTube is telling us what we need to buy, and we're like, well, my goodness, now I have a problem with my eyebrows. 10 minutes before watching that video, I thought my eyebrows were fine. Suddenly now I have something I need to fix, and I'm gonna go buy a product and do it. That is where we have to be so careful with what we consume. So certainly if you are looking, if you thought, you know, I'd like to fix my eyebrows, I'm gonna go watch a video about that. Then sure, go watch a video and maybe you can find some good products to review and buy those products possibly. But keep in mind that if you're not looking to buy a car, you don't go to a car dealership, right? You would not just go to one just to look unless you're really sure you were able to say no, even test driving. But remember, those people that sell used cars, that's their living, and that's fine, and they're providing for their family, and that's all well and good, but they're also really good at what they're doing. Like, they're going to sell you something. That is their job. It's the same thing with these influencers, y'all. There's nothing wrong with that being their job, but it is their job. They're making money off their Amazon affiliate links. They're making money off of reviewing diaper bags and then having a 40% off code. Nothing wrong with it if you need to buy a diaper bag and if you can afford to buy that type of diaper bag. But if you can't, then don't watch that video. And keep in mind too, I think we see influencers on social media and we think we need to keep up with them and have all the things they have, but are they getting that product for free to review? And then you're expected to spend $200 to get that diaper bag, but they got it for free. It's fine, they got it for free. Again, that's part of their job. But you're trying to keep up with someone who's getting things for free and you're having to spend $200 a pop to keep up with them. Keep that in mind. Also, when you're watching influencers and you're deciding whether or not you need to buy something, would you have purchased that thing had you not seen them have it? Like, would I have ever started doing my eyebrows had I not watched YouTube? I'm not really sure. And I don't know why I'm hammering the eyebrows, but that's something I can think of really quick, right? Would you buy those cleaning products had you not seen your favorite YouTube cleaner use them? Or would you have been perfectly content using the ones that you have used for years and years and years and you know work well? Are you only buying something because someone you like is using it? Do you really need it? And the big one, y'all, can you really afford it? You know, I talk about debt-free living just as much as I talk about minimalism, but it just hurts my heart to see so many people going into debt to try and be like people they're watching on the internet. So do you think buying it makes you closer to them? I think this is where a lot of influencers get a lot of influence over people, is people are like, oh, she's my favorite YouTuber and she uses this countertop spray, or she has this diaper bag. And so somehow they feel closer to that person if they buy that product and have that same thing. But you're not any closer to them. Like, they're on the internet in their home, in their state, in their city. You're at home watching the internet in your city, in your home, in your state, and you just happen to have the same thing. It doesn't actually make you best friends like you hope it does. So consider why you're purchasing these things that people are pushing. Do you need it? Do you really want it? And can you afford it? Then all good, get that stuff, enjoy it. Yay, that influencer made some money, that's great, they're providing for their family. But if those three things aren't true, stop buying the stuff. Stop filling your home with things just because somebody else is filling their home with those things. Stop going into debt because somebody else is getting a product for free to review it and making money off of you going into debt for that product. I'm looking at my notes. So the big one on this, I think, when we're looking at influencers, and this is even true if you're watching me and simplifying your home, is are you trying to mimic somebody else's lifestyle when you have a different budget and different circumstances, a different husband, a different family? Like, stop trying to, you can observe people's lifestyles, and I think that's fun. I love YouTube. I love watching YouTube. You can be inspired by people, but you're ultimately going to be married to a different guy than she's married to. Your kids are going to have different personalities than my kids. Your in-law makeup is going to be different than my in-laws. Your city is going to be different. I mean, I live in a small town of like 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, something like that people, right? That's very different than a lot of the rest of the U.S. that is watching me. So my access to stores is different than yours. My budget is different. My priorities are different. So stop trying to mimic other people's lifestyle. And if you need to, I really suggest taking a break from watching lifestyle channels. You can unfollow on Instagram and completely still cheer those people on. But if their content, again, it's not their fault, it's a fault of our own. I mean, it's totally me that I cannot watch. I cannot follow all fashion accounts on Instagram. And that's not because there's anything wrong with fashion accounts. I'll get into that story in a minute. But that's because of me. But know what is influencing you, and if you're having trouble figuring out really who you are and what your priorities are and your circumstances are and knowing how to live in those, then maybe you need to back away from lifestyle channels. Maybe you need to back away from some of the people that you follow on Instagram for a while, and maybe you can go back later, or maybe you just discover that it was never really worth your time anyway. When I first had Martin, and I think I've shared a little bit of this before on my here on YouTube, but when I first had Martin, that's my oldest, I was, I had him right before I turned 25. Like a month before I turned 25, I had my first child. And I was like deathly afraid of looking like a mom after I had him. And all of my best friends hadn't had kids yet. And I really wanted to be cute still. And I was really afraid that I was gonna, have him and just, I don't know, what does it even really mean to look like a mom? But I was afraid to look like a mom. So I followed all of these Instagram accounts of these really cute moms, or even women that maybe didn't have kids yet, and they wore really, really cute clothes. But they were wearing really, really cute clothes that came from J. Crew and from Nordstrom and from Anthropologie and some really expensive places. And the reality was we were not budgeting to be able to, we were budgeting. So we were not budgeting me enough fun money to be able to keep up with those things, those people. But I felt the pressure to, I felt like they looked so cute. I needed to look that cute. I needed to look that put together to go to story time. I just put all this pressure on myself, and it was so ridiculous. And not only was it not in the budget, so I wasn't even able to do it, but it was taking up so much time and space in my head. And I should not, that didn't need to be my focus. That was of no eternal value in my life for that to have been that pressure on me. That was not somebody getting saved. That was not me understanding more of the Bible. That was none of those things, and yet I was allowing it to consume so much of my energy and the fun money that I did get, trying to keep up with people so that I didn't look like a mom and so that I was as cute as they were. And there was nothing wrong with their accounts, right? Like, it's fine. They were beautiful. They had really beautiful clothes, and nothing about that do I think is wrong. But for me, I wasn't able to continue following them without feeling that pressure and feeling inadequate and just spending time on things that my time and money didn't need to go to those things. So I unfollowed, and Martin will be 5 in the end of October, and I'm not following any Instagram fashion accounts still. But I have gotten to a place since unfollowing where I really figured out kind of my stride and who I was and what I wanted to look like and wear, and it doesn't take a lot of thinking for me, and I don't need those accounts and that influence anymore. I know what Stephanie likes to wear. Whether it's in fashion or not, I'm going to wear it. I'm comfortable in it. If it's modest, if my husband thinks it's good, we're all good, right? But sometimes to get to that place where you know who you are and you're able to not be influenced by every commercial you see, which is what social media is, y'all. It's commercials now, unless it's just real people. Most of it is commercials. Then maybe you need to unfollow and maybe you need to back away for a while. And I want to hammer home, I feel like I keep saying this, but it's not the influencers that are the problem, but it can be the problem that is within us that is the problem that I couldn't follow those fashion accounts. They were fine. People that make their money on YouTube are not evil. I'm not saying they're greedy or anything else. Like, that's just their job. But again, you don't go to a car dealership unless you're looking to buy a car. I think it's the same thing with what we consume on social media. Where we get trapped into it is we tend to think we're friends with these people, and so we don't want to unfollow our friend or not support our friend, but you can't necessarily afford to support your friend. It may not be good for your mental health to support your friend. And friends don't make their living off of their friends. So just keep that in mind when you're consuming things. And the next time you go to purchase a new blouse, or maybe it's a type of makeup, or even a cleaning product, or a diaper bag, or a toy for your kid, or a homeschool curriculum, make sure you're purchasing it because it really lines up with your values and your priorities and what you want for your life. And it's not something you're getting because of somebody else only. So I hope that encouraged y'all, and I hope it made sense. I say that in all my videos. Just keeping it real here, but I will talk to y'all in my next video. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Definitely leave in the comments down below anything you do to help yourself prioritize and stay with your values while still consuming social media. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.